Hello, everybody, and welcome to the inaugural episode of Mock Trial, the podcast that is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will. That leaves around 55% left, and that 55% is a debate podcast where the point of the game / debate, because this is a game, is to swoon Varun. I am your host, Varun Narayan. And you know, I spent my childhood growing up in a faraway place, Michigan. And so I don't really have any opinions of my own. I'm not really familiar with a lot of things, pop culture, current events. And so I need some help. I need some help from my friends to kind of figure out where I stand on some topics. So that's why we're doing this. So without further ado, let's introduce today's topic. Today's topic is Shrek v. Shrek 2. Which one's better? All right, so let's go ahead and meet today's teams. On one side, on Team Shrek, we've got your team captain, Matthew. What's up, Matthew?
Doing well, Varun. Can't wait to swoon you. And I have my buddy here, Joe. Joe, say something.
Hey.
Cool, great. All right, well let's get to know Matthew a little bit. All right. So Matthew has a 4-foot vertical leap.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Has a 4-inch dong.
3.9, but we round up here.
Bragging.
I guess.
And he is the 4th best debater here.
Yeah, I hope to grow. I hope to grow as a debater over time, and that's going to be my 4th fun fact. Actually, my favorite number is 4. That's my 5th one. Shit. All right.
Okay. Well, Matt, what is your team name?
We put the OG in Ogre.
Wow.
What's the team name?
He answered the question when he asked it. That was the...
Okay. Well, on the other side, on Team Shrek 2, we've got your team captain, Lucas, the sweet baby boy himself.
Yeah.
Lucas, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. It's a good Monday night, good weather, good fall. Sitting here with my teammate, Brandon.
What's up?
Awesome. All right. Well, Lucas, what is your team name?
We are Shrek 2 Live Crew.
And also, let's get to know your team captain, Lucas. Lucas, his favorite exercise is a French press. He has a 34-inch waist, and he likes iced tea with no ice.
Ugh.
Is that true?
Yep.
It's a fun fact, Brandon.
Oh, that's just unbelievable.
You
But
have iced tea with no ice?
Iced tea without ice. Yep.
Isn't that just cold tea?
Room temperature tea, probably, right? Because it's not...
So, like, would you like it iced beforehand and the ice taken out? Or, like, what's your deal?
Isn't it just iced tea? Like, I thought ice was optional.
yeah, I think it's the process.
It's tea.
I will say,
But that's what it's called. It's just iced tea. Like, it's an iced tea plant that
I don't claim to be
pick it from. Oh.
It's. Are you saying it's cold?
Now,
you get your
are we talking like a cold brewed tea or something like that?
No,
the plant. It's called an iced tea.
Yeah, you see it on the store. It's iced tea in like the bags, like Lipton iced tea, and like some people put ice in it, but I'd rather just have it room temperature.
Okay, we've talked about that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting though. We could switch the debate.
Also, last but certainly not least, we've got another in the room. We've got Payne, our human lie detector.
Yep, hello. I've definitely seen each movie once and read each Wikipedia page at least twice. So I'm here to keep you guys in line and make sure things are all within the boundaries.
Fair and balanced.
Yeah, Payne's here to
Fair
make
and
sure
balanced, TM.
Payne's here to make sure everything stays above board. We don't want any kind of cheating or.
Matt already went below the board with that. Dong reference.
I'm just being. It's a fun fact, really. It's fun.
It was fun. It was good.
Oh! I didn't even know that was the second fact. I literally thought
Yeah,
I thought Vern just added that in.
No, that was all.
That's why you were so shocked.
Or I thought it was
over
like
there.
a comma. Like it didn't seem. I was like, "Where's that third fact?" I was like, "Maybe I just missed it."
No, that was on there.
Didn't know you were counting facts.
All right,
over there.
and now makes sense.
All right. Well, both teams have prepared opening statements for the debate. And in order to see what team goes first, I've got a question. A bit of a trivia question. Whatever team answers correctly first will be the team that gives their opening statement first. So my question to you is this. Who was originally tapped to voice Shrek before Mike Myers stepped in to fill the role?
Will Ferrell.
No. I should have picked an easier question.
Yeah.
No, I've heard that before, but they backed out.
Well, he died, so.
Well,
I know. Can I redo
you
it?
yeah.
Chris Farley.
Yes. It's
Oh.
So I guess in a way he did back out. But,
Well, you could have chosen an easier lifestyle and did Shrek.
but yeah, with that being said, team, we put the OG in Ogre. Start us off. Give us your opening statement.
So, we do put the OG in Ogre. Absolutely. And so, Varun, we're going to explain to you today, over the course of this hour-long podcast, why Shrek 1 is honestly one of the perfect children's movie ever created. They literally created the perfect anti-hero in a children's movie that's enjoyable for both children and adults. They did it by having a great cast. Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, Cameron Diaz, amazing. Having a great villain in Lord Farquaad. And you get to see in this movie a complete character transformation unlike any children's movie that you have ever seen. So, with that, Joe, do you have anything to add?
No, just that Shrek. I guess we're referring to as Shrek 1, but it's just Shrek.
It's just Shrek.
It doesn't need
It's
a
just Shrek.
number. It was the first to do it. There really wouldn't be a Shrek 2 without Shrek paving the way. And it's really the bedrock of the franchise, and it's the reason
Let's
why...
try to keep the hot takes to a minimum.
Wait. That's just a logical... There would be no Shrek 2. There was a
Jumping
Shrek.
to
Okay?
conclusions there.
Can we not do hot takes on this? Because we have a lot of them.
Now, if Shrek 2 was like that plot, if that was Shrek, and then they're like, oh, well, let's see how Shrek and Fiona met. They made like a prequel, and it was like Shrek before Shrek -1 or something.
Shrek -1.
Okay, I'm getting pedantic here. Yeah.
But yeah, I like we're gonna hold our cards close. So that's gonna be the end of our opening statement. We'll show you.
We'll show you.
Okay. After holding them close, we'll show them. Okay, so Team Shrek 2. What was your name?
Shrek 2 Live Crew.
There we go.
Come on, did you not write it down?
I did not write
You don't
down
even
the
care.
names.
We're
Shrek 2 Live Crew. What is your opening statement?
So Shrek 2 Live Crew, we do believe Shrek 2 is the better movie, the superior movie. Not often does a sequel do better than the original. Made twice as much money at the box office than the original. 2 Oscar noms. It was the highest grossing movie of 2004. It made more money than $1 Million Baby.
Ooh, that's a
So
great
screw
movie.
you, Clint Eastwood. Shrek's got you.
Yeah.
They have better music. You got the Counting Crows in this one. Had a better rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Sure did.
They brought in new characters in this one, funny characters. Got the Fairy
memorable,
Godmother.
too.
Memorable, you don't forget these people. Yeah. The Fairy Godmother, Prince Charming. Then they had Puss in Boots, who got his own spin-off
He did.
with Antonio Banderas,
Yeah.
the Gingerbread Man. And this one also had more lore. Had went more into spells and magic. You had more castle animation,
Yeah, lots more to
battling
deal with.
in medieval times. Brandon, you have anything you'd like to add?
I think if we were trying to bring down this argument to just one point, maybe Shrek started off a couple characters, nice little story. Shrek 2 made the franchise. The Shrek did a little bedrock. Shrek 2 took this thing to outer space. This thing, it's literally got no ceiling after Shrek 2, and I don't think that Shrek 1 would have been able to do that alone. So we do think it is the better movie for quite a few reasons. We have more cards as well, but they're wide open here if you guys would like to discuss them. We're not trying to hide anything. We believe in Shrek 2.
Yep.
All
right, so those were some strong starts. So we'll get back to you right after this ad.
Hi, I'm Steve from Bill's Sign Removal. I'm glad to be able to advertise on this well-known podcast so I can share my product to the millions of listeners. For those of you that don't know my business, it's pretty simple. I remove signs. Are you tired of seeing the name of a stinky Democrat candidate on a political sign in your snowflake neighbor's yard? I'll remove it. Did you ignore that wrong way sign and drive up the exit ramp and kill that family of 5? I'll remove it. And the state will be the only one to blame, and it will benefit the family more because the state has more money than you and will have to pay much more to the victim's family if found guilty. And that's a win-win in my book. Is your ex-girlfriend trying to move away from you? I'll remove the for sale sign in front of her house so she can never leave, and you can continue to drive by her house at 1 a.m. and rev the engine of your 2003 Dodge Cummins until she marries you. So call me, Steve, at Bill's Sign Removal, and I'll remove any sign, any day, anywhere.
Welcome back. All right, so now that both teams have had a chance to give out their opening statements, it's time for the main event. That's right. It's time to debate. So I've got a list of questions here that I'd like discussed, because after all, the point of the debate is to swoon Varun. And so this is what's going to swoon me. These questions right here. So without further ado, let's get started. So first off, the biggest thing with any movie is the story. So between Shrek and Shrek 2, which one has the better story?
I'll start off by saying Shrek 1.
Yeah, I agree. Shrek 1.
What case closed?
Story. Next question.
Yeah. So it starts out with just a lonely man who just wants his swamp.
Ogre.
A lonely ogre.
Okay.
We're using that in like a sense. Like
But he's
man,
such
man
a
as in,
but he's
It's
such
a
a
metaphor.
but he's a
Yeah.
human character. You really can relate to
He
him.
feels like a human. He feels like a human. He doesn't feel like a monster, which is something great that the movie
Can I
does.
just say, great save.
Thank you. Thank you. And he just wants to be alone in his swamp. But then this nasty old Lord Fuckwad, if you will, puts all these fairy tale creatures into his land. So what does he do? He embarks on an epic adventure to get back his swamp.
Yeah.
And from there, shenanigans ensue.
Yeah.
But it's a story we can all rally around.
Exactly.
We don't want people in our swamp. We got to drain the swamp. Wait, that wasn't what that was about. Maybe I misread something. But anyway, but it's a story we can all rally around anyway.
Team Shrek 2, please refrain from groaning into the mic.
Joe, anything to add there after that?
I'm sorry to cut you off.
Joe, anything to add there?
I think you nailed it, really.
I love how you stopped short of saying it's a story we can all relate to. I, for one, have spent many years in my swamp. And so I get it.
But no, the story's good. He goes to Lord Farquaad's castle, and he kind of that great fight scene, and he gets to gets the attention of Farquaad.
I don't give a damn about my bad reputation.
yeah,
Oh, what an
perfect use
iconic
of-
scene.
perfect use
And
of
Kurt
Please,
songs.
please don't
Song.
sing any more of it, because then we'll have to pay.
That's true.
Keep in mind, I'm gonna need you to be very specific. I haven't seen either of these movies. I have no idea what
I
you're
don't think
talking
we
about.
each should recap.
Well, maybe you
each
should
of
have
the
asked us to
plots.
recap the entire movies for you.
Well, we've
Yeah.
we've got some time.
Do we have
All right,
4 hours?
all right. So in order to get his swamp back, Lord Farquaad sends him on a
We
We
quest
actually are.
to get the princess out of a castle so that Lord Farquaad can marry her.
Yeah.
So Shrek, in an epic way, naturally,
Of course.
bypasses dragons, goes over rickety bridges, and ends up rescuing Princess Fiona, voiced by Cameron Diaz. But on the way home, throughout their time together, they realize they connect. But then you're like, oh wait, why is Princess Fiona always
Something.
why is she always wanting to go to bed before sundown?
Something up. Something's
And
up.
Varun is okay. Can I say spoiler alert here?
Yeah, that's fair. I'm not gonna watch it. That's why.
Well,
that's
you
what we're
should.
doing.
I just want to make. Well, if you're not going to, though. So later in the film, we find out that Fiona had a curse on her at a young age, where every night she transforms into what?
An ogress.
Thank you for using the proper term.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
It's 2019.
She can be whatever
I
she
think
wants.
I think she identifies as ogress. I mean, I'm not.
There's a whole back and
Female
forth.
ogre is acceptable. You don't have to call her an ogress. They're both actors. There's not actors and actress. They can also be actors. Thank you.
You
It's
don't know.
2019.
You don't know her pronoun. Don't assume it.
Thank you, Payne. I appreciate it.
He's
But
on
yeah,
your
there's a whole
team.
back and forth, and they realize they love each other. There's a great ending scene where they sing "I'm a Believer." Eddie Murphy kills it. Eddie Murphy, I mean, this is where he really shines in Shrek. And yeah, the movie ends with their wedding, and it's great. And it could have ended right there, and we had closure. We had everything we needed, and then they just, you know, milked that fucking cow for what it was and was like, we need to make 8 more of these. Boo, boo, boo.
You guys go ahead.
And that's
you
the
guys
end.
Explain. Yeah, I think we spent a lot of time.
I feel like
explaining.
I literally just watched
You did,
Shrek.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're a
you,
little-
You
you're-
took me on a journey.
You're a little bored over there, aren't you?
No, I'm.
You that was riveting for you.
I was shell shocked. I think that's the term.
So you'd say you would like more of that then?
I'm just saying that it was an experience that I'm glad I was taken on.
All right.
Shrek 1 is the Joker for kids. Perfect anti-hero. Perfect anti-hero.
Wait, Shrek 1 is the anti-hero?
Shrek
Or
is
Shrek
an
is-
anti-hero, naturally.
Okay.
Just like the Joker.
Okay. Team Shrek 2 live crew. Tell me about the story.
All right. Well,
What's Shrek 2's deal?
we can both agree over here on Shrek 2 Live Crew that Shrek, the original, was a nice enough story, but there's a little. I mean, it's pretty overdone in.
Yep.
I mean, it's ogre saves ogre. You know, like it's here comes Prince Charming, right?
Yep.
Like, oh,
Big dorky guy.
yeah.
He's angry. He's mad. Gets the girl. They get
Yeah.
married. We've seen it 1,000 times.
Yeah,
Blech.
like I could see the ending from the first scene. But you know, we got some good characters out of it for Shrek 2. You know.
Yeah.
So so Shrek 2 it picks up. They're married. They go meet the parents, and they think that Fiona is with this Prince Charming of a guy, but she's with an ogre. So long story short, her father hires a cat to kill him. It's
An adorable cat, by the way.
an adorable cat. He's Puss in Boots, who, by the way, turns into his own character. Is great. All because of Shrek 2. He falls in love with the old lovable Shrek, just like everyone else, and the donkey. We go back and forth, back and forth. He turns into a human because he wants to be who he thinks Fiona wants him to be.
You get that addition, that more lore in Shrek 2 where he gets the potion and
Yeah,
you're
turns
really
to
sucked into the
potion,
story.
Turns
It's like
into
you're
a
right there.
human. By the end, we all realize, to keep it short, that the point of this is to be yourself, and love who you're with.
And yeah, don't get plastic surgery.
Yeah, which it was set in like a pseudo Hollywood, so I think that means a lot. So yeah, I think there's more story in Shrek 2. I think there's more to relate to. I think there are more characters. You have the fairy godmother. You have
Pinocchio.
Pinocchio's in it. All of the people that were just kind of forced onto the swamp in the first
gingerbread
one.
man.
Yeah, they come back.
Giant gingerbread man.
Ooh, a giant gingerbread man.
Bust through the wall while Total Eclipse. No, it's the other one. Hero plays
Hero.
by who's Bonnie Tyler.
Yeah.
And they have Changes by David Bowie. Plays.
By the way, let's talk about the music in this
There's
movie.
Counting Crows.
So good.
But you got a problem, baby?
Yeah.
Whoa, so hey, everything in its time, sir.
Oh, was that what?
Yeah.
Anyway, what was your question?
I just want to
better
recap
story.
the story, but that actually. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So
Are you guys? Did you guys
Yeah, we tried to keep it short. We didn't want you guys to.
We didn't try to keep it short.
No, we wanted
Just
to
go.
take Varun on a journey. And
Just
so-
go.
I think the main thing is you say there's more story. I think it's just expanding on the story that Shrek 1 already.
It's a completely
stated.
new
Loving
story.
yourself. It just goes into the same.
They're rehashing the same themes and motifs that were presented in Shrek 1. Loving yourself, being the person you really are on the inside. That's the whole reason that Fiona's an ogre, which happened in
They
the
just
first
swapped
movie.
it. It's just like, oh, now Shrek's the human. Now Shrek's the human.
Well, they both turned into humans in Shrek 2.
So yeah, I mean they're just transforming to and from in that movie, and it's like you already transformed once, Fiona. Give it a rest.
Whoa.
That actually brings up another thing that I've written down. So, like, was the moral center of these movies. So, with animated, children's movies, there is some kind of, like, subtext of a moral, deep down story underneath everything else. I think you guys have both touched on it. So, it seems like the moral of both these movies is the same in terms of, like, be who you are, love who you are. So, let's talk about which one did it better and why did it do it better.
Shrek 2.
Shrek 2. So in Shrek 2, you also have a donkey that gets to express his love for a dragon.
There's a donkey in the second one?
Oh, I didn't know there wasn't one in the first one.
Is it donkey?
Oh, did you guys
From the
not
first
hear
one?
what he...
There's more.
He said a donkey.
Well,
Donkey.
he said there's...
Is that what you wanted?
That
Donkey.
was good.
Yeah, I think that works.
So in the first one, they touch on they almost like shame him for his him and the dragon's relationship, and the second one's more progressive. They're like
Yeah.
donkey can marry a dragon. It's
He's
2000.
in an interspecies relationship.
Yep, and everyone's cool with it. In the first one, they kind of shame that, I believe. So there's more love in this one.
Yeah.
Where was the
I'm sorry,
where was the shaming of the relationship in the first one?
Well, they
Is
didn't-
that the viewers imposing their own personal feelings about it? Because if you stay past the credits, I believe,
Whoa, is there an end credit scene?
in the first one there is.
There's one in the second one as
Before
well.
the Avengers, even. This was done before the Avengers for the young audience members out there.
My God.
And isn't that where we are introduced to the donkey
I thought you were gonna say
Dragon-
Avengers.
Dragon.
hybrid babies?
Yeah.
Actually. Yeah.
No, you do you, donkey. I agree.
It could have just been a fever dream, and I'm making this up.
I'm looking at that the
If
second.
that's a fever dream, that's a fever dream I want to be a part of.
Whisper everything into the mic.
The
please.
relationship is introduced in the first movie. Yes, you are correct. It exists there.
Yes.
Can we get back to your question?
And they were
about the story?
accepted for it.
So which one has the better love yourself story, be who you are story, and why?
Well, what I don't like about the first one, and I'll just come out and say it, is the female characters are a lot weaker. You have a female dragon in a castle that just needs the help of an outside person, and then once she's released, she's the nicest person in the world. She is with the person that saved her. You have Fiona, who gets saved from the castle, then taken away immediately by a king. Shrek saves her again. In the second one, it is more of a team effort. You have this outside force, this really great force of the fairy godmother trying to separate them so that she will marry her son, Prince Charming. So she tries to completely get rid of Shrek, who is caught up in this murder plot, which is insane. And then the whole time, Shrek is trying to find his way back to Fiona. During this, both Fiona and Shrek are trying to change themselves for the better. Fiona doesn't know where Shrek is, and then she's confused because Prince Charming comes back in after Shrek takes the potion, and both Fiona and Shrek were changed into humans. And now you have Fiona, who is not understanding if Prince Charming is really Shrek or not, even though it's being lied to. And then you have Shrek, who turned into a human as well, who thinks that's what Fiona wants. It was a conscious decision this time, and then he finally finds her way back to him.
So it sounds
Rebuttal.
like yeah. So it
You
sounds
said
like
they were portrayed as weak in the first movie.
Yeah, they need saved.
No.
They
Okay,
literally
although
need saved, and I don't like that portrayal of them.
the dragon needed to. Okay, so
Yeah, she was chained up.
Remember when Princess Fiona was a badass and like kicked all those robbers' asses?
it was
and
an
she, like,
awesome
burps
Matrix
and
spoof.
stuff?
Do you remember
Yeah.
that? There was a whole Matrix scene.
Yeah.
It was amazing. So there
Yeah,
was.
She was not portrayed.
She's
as
a
weak
strong
in that
woman.
movie.
In
She was
the
under a
first
curse
movie.
where she had to be stuck in the tower. That's her own fault. Yeah.
Would you? You can't find a way out of the town.
You might want to
Just take the
stairs.
So she. Yeah, never mind.
But and then the dragon, I think it was kind of a twist that the dragon even was a girl.
So it sounds like
Remember?
as well, yeah. And it sounds like that.
They had children, like they had little baby.
Yeah, but remember, like they assumed it was a guy, and then it like batted its eyelashes. It was part like.
Oh, you're a girl,
Yeah,
Dread.
it kind of like I forget the exact dialogue.
That
It was
was-
kind of like, oh yeah,
That
who
was the
says
exact dialogue.
Oh, so that dragon can't be big and
Not to
beautiful
brag,
like it
not to
is?
brag.
Oh my gosh.
Come
But-
on,
but it
I
sounds
didn't
like-
like the,
Well,
the
no.
portrayal.
No, they made her like less scary. Like,
And-
oh, it's a woman, so
and evil.
this
Oh,
isn't
now
as,
we
this
can-
isn't as scary.
Yeah, no, the portrayal
wasn't as-
was
She's
just-
she's too emotional. She's
Yeah.
gonna get caught in her emotions.
Well, it sounds
and
like
she won't be able
Shrek
to do
2
her
is
job.
saying that you should change yourself for the one you love. Is that
No,
what's
that's-
happening?
Is this
That's-
some Grease level bullshit?
It's
yeah, it
the-
sounds like it.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, and in the end, they accept for each other for who they are. They enjoy the willingness that they were willing to change for each other, but they understand that they make a decision to be who they are for the rest of their lives as long as they can be together. That is
After they spent the whole movie changing themselves for each other. If you would have cut out before that movie ended, as a child, your attention span wanders.
Well, do you know?
I think it's just like it's kind of like they went off to college. They wanted to kind of see who they really were, and they tried that, didn't like it, and they knew. Then they realized they knew who they were the whole time.
They loved each other so much that
That
they
sounds
were.
like some personal experience, Lucas. Would you want to dig into that? one?
I thought I was gay, then I went to college, and I'm not. So
Usually it's the other way around.
opposite. Yeah.
And also, the only reason that Shrek thinks that Fiona wants a Prince Charming is because he reads her childhood journal, and all over it is Mrs. Fiona Charming, Mrs. Fiona Charming, Mrs. Fiona Charming. And that's why he's led to believe that he needs to change in order to make her happy. In the end, we realize that as long as you're with the person that makes you happy, you don't need to change.
So as a boyfriend, you should be paranoid and go through your girlfriend's shit all the time.
That's a great lesson.
You've never
Read
been a little
your
jealous or
girlfriend's
paranoid?
texts. Is
Yeah,
what
yeah, is that
You're
what you're
telling me
saying?
to do.
Her childhood journal.
So you can see in
Which
Shrek
I'm
1.
thinking of a 2019 equivalent, Brandon.
Okay, can we please be in this fantasy land?
So in Shrek 1, you get to see a full character transformation between Shrek. He was shut out from the world.
By choice.
He was
By
basically
choice, he chose.
By choice.
He chose.
Yeah,
Where he
that's
was.
not a good quality.
He hated himself.
Yeah.
We're saying he hated himself.
No,
and he wasn't even a great
he was-
character at the
I
beginning.
think
No.
Shrek loved himself, but he needed to find someone that would love him.
No, I think Shrek was a full-on incel at the beginning. Not to bring up more Joker references, but there's some parallels. That's what I'm saying. But throughout his time,
He was lonely.
All the ogre wanted was. Did you see the dinner scene?
If you have a montage of my morning with fucking Smash Mouth playing, it's gonna look like I'm having a good time.
Yeah, but then he has dinner by himself, and this whole swarm of Fantasyland creatures comes up and tries to invade his privacy. All the man wanted was privacy.
That's what he thought. That's
No,
what he thought
no
at
one
first. He
was
thought he
keeping
wanted to be shut
anything
out.
from
He
him.
learned to love that whole cast of
He did,
fabled
I mean,
characters.
yeah. He and
Especially Donkey.
towards the end, he
The
invited them all.
wisecracking
He invited them
mule.
all to his wedding. He found the love of his life. He found what made him whole, and did a full transformation into lovable ogre.
But the thing
Oxymoron.
is, he didn't really transform out of his personality. He just found someone to not be lonely with. Because by the end, yeah, they had some people at the wedding, but he still only wanted to go back to his swamp, stay in the swamp with Fiona. Like, he didn't even want to go see the parents in Far, Far Away.
Well, that's in
So
Shrek
what-
2, and they shouldn't have even made that. So.
What transformed in Shrek's life other than he found his wife?
And he made new friends along the way as well. Donkey's a friend.
One friend.
So-
One friend.
What about Pinocchio, the three blind mice?
They help him in Shrek 2.
Yeah.
So if you want to see Shrek transform and make friends, watch Shrek 2.
Okay, I think that's actually.
Do you not invite friends to your wedding?
I think Fiona invited
Do you invite
his
just
friends, by
random
the
Yeah,
way.
Shrek didn't have any friends.
You think Shrek planned that wedding? It was beautiful.
Okay, that actually. So there's a lot to unpack in this debate.
Yeah.
More than I
talked.
thought.
Yeah, we've talked about the story.
Less than I thought so far. I've got a lot more.
Yeah, no, I've got a lot of other questions to ask. That's why we need to keep this moving forward. My next question is something that you guys have touched on briefly a couple times. Well, let's talk about the cast. Not just the actual actors attached to the movies, but the characters themselves. So which has the bigger, not always better, bigger doesn't always mean better, but which has the better ensemble cast, both actor-wise and character-wise?
Shrek 1.
Shrek.
Surprise, surprise.
Let's go through it.
So
Let's
you have
unpack it.
say you have Mike Myers.
I think. Well, we could just start with
we
the
also
main.
have
The
Mike
main
Myers.
difference between the two movies, Shrek 2, they add a couple more characters.
They had a lot of great characters.
But like I said, bigger doesn't always mean
Exactly.
better. Bigger doesn't always
And
mean better.
let's talk villains. I think Lord Farquaad is a better villain than is
The
it the
fairy godmother?
Yeah.
She was way better. She could fly.
Well, we can get into villains later.
Oh, it
But
sounds like that's another question.
that is another question.
Well,
can
we
get
just
into villains.
answered it.
Well, maybe your question should have been excluding the villains.
Okay,
All
excluding
right, yeah,
the villains.
let's talk about the ensemble. We've got a lot to talk about, so you guys get over yours.
we
and we'll
got
get to ours.
we got the executioners who add a lot of comic
What he
relief
says,
and
what he
brevity.
says. Number three, my lord.
He's
And
always
he's all
holding
the way
up
up
two
to
fingers.
fingers.
Very good.
That's a great bit.
Magic Mirror is more of a presence in this
Was that
movie.
voiced by Ryan Seacrest?
Right?
I forget.
Ryan.
Not very. I think he was He was the essence of
And then
Ryan.
Ryan
That was
Seacrest died,
yeah,
and so
that
they
was
had to get
pre-American
somebody
Idol.
else there.
That was like
uh-oh.
the first year of American Idol, so that wasn't even a meme yet.
American Idol was a
Shrek
few-
came out in 2001. 2000.
Yeah. and-
American Idol first season was 1999, right?
Yeah,
Wasn't it
yeah,
Kelly
you had
Clarkson.
plenty.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
No,
that's not that.
Was
old.
that
No,
2002, I
no,
think.
not 19. I watched the
2002.
first season and I was like 6.
All right, let's get back on topic.
Go-
This isn't an American Idol
He'll check.
debate.
He was
Yeah,
checking-
we've
he's
got our
checking
fact
facts.
checker on it. Yeah, go on, Joe.
But anyways, yes, we have more of a presence from Magic Mirror. We have
Ryan
all these lovable characters that you know and love from your
Who's
fairy
that by?
tale that are making their appearances as people as you've never seen them before.
2002 for the first season.
Wow.
Yes.
But
Yeah, Mike nodding
did
system
Ryan
American Idol
Seacrest work
criteria.
in Hollywood before American Idol? Was that
Ryan
his first
Seacrest
gig?
wasn't even the full-time original host in the first American Idol. They had that other
Guys,
guy.
guys.
Dunkelman.
Okay.
Hey, Ryan Seacrest.
If this was an American Idol debate,
Ryan Seacrest probably had a great career.
would win, hands down. Unfortunately, it's not.
So he just did nothing. He just applied to American Idol. And they're
Yes,
like,
he's a
this
nothing
guy-
man.
I think he did some other hosting gigs.
Now, I'm going to
before.
go on record as saying I don't even think he really existed before he became the host.
I
Before,
think
like,
he was
season
literally
three
born in
of
a
the
lab
Idol.
before
Yeah,
American
co-host.
Idol.
Came
Yeah.
out of the womb in a tuxedo, holding a microphone, which,
Yeah.
mind you, very difficult on the uterus.
Can you hear me now?
I really don't appreciate this Seacrest slander.
Well, is he going to be a sponsor?
Hopefully, a contributing member.
And
Yeah.
Let's get
Give it-
Ryan Seacrest.
you know what?
Maybe
you know
less
what?
on top 40.
You know what I like about Shrek 1? It's generally about 3 centralized characters, and you get to know them on a personal level. In Shrek 2, they're just like, oh, we've already did perfect with these 3 characters. We got to muddy up the water and add in, what, Antonio Banderas as Puss in Boots. And we got to add in...
I think DreamWorks was like, we need to sell more toys.
yeah, we need... Exactly.
Cute stuffed animal cats. That'd be a...
Oh yeah, that's how original. Yes, we need to get something cute in there to make sure that we can sell more to children.
Yeah.
But I think having a more personalized story between 3 characters was much more endearing than spreading it out to like the in-laws and Puss in Boots and the whole far, far away Hollywood that they need. I don't care about Hollywood.
It was supposed
It's
to.
too many.
be
When you
LA.
have too many characters, then you don't get to know any of them good enough to really connect with them. I only connected with Shrek and Donkey in that movie because
What'd you connect with?
I connected with their friendship.
They weren't friends yet.
They were friends.
By the
and,
end.
in Shrek 2? Are you
I
talking
think
about?
it was Shrek's,
Shrek one.
godlike radiance, really.
In Shrek 1, I told you.
Shrek does have a god energy about himself.
Whoa, that's not a fact.
both movies.
It came out of the fact checker's mouth.
Once it comes out of Payne's mouth, it does not go back in.
New
It
fact
doesn't
checker.
hurt your movie either. It's
Yeah,
fixing
but
both of them. I'm just saying.
It helps theirs, so.
Yeah, it's Shrek 1 was just we've kind of hinted at before, but it's more of a quality before quantity kind of thing. It shows in the budget, shows in the characters, you know.
I want to touch on real quickly that you guys keep referencing both of these movies as children movies, and that's fine. It is, a cartoon. You would think it'd be geared towards children, but what you guys haven't mentioned about your own is it did so well among adults.
Oh, it's great. I mean, but it's marketed towards children.
We mentioned that about like selling toys, like the introduction of Puss in Boots is like, I mean, he's funny,
pretty
it's some funny
childish.
bits, but it's
I
like,
honestly think that this movie transformed more into appealing to this generation and generations above because the jokes in it are a little more adult.
Same with Shrek 1.
Well, how old were you?
I
in
meant
2002?
Shrek 1, so
Yeah.
Shrek 2 was able to see that, and Shrek 1, wow, this movie was, maybe a cartoon, but adults loved it. Like, there was a tiny king drinking a martini in Shrek. A kid's not going to understand that. There was a dating game going on. A kid's not. So,
There were
in
so
Shrek
many
2,
jokes about Lord Farquaad having a small dick. It's unreal, honestly.
So
there were a lot of those.
yeah, so Shrek 1 came out in 2001, and I was 10 then. And then Shrek 2 came out in 2004, and I was 13. I was much older then.
more
and,
adult. You're
and
more
I
adult.
felt it applied to me. It applied to me the same as
Hey, from
Shrek
10,
1.
10 to 14, you're gonna learn. You're gonna get exposed to a lot, and I think in Shrek 2 they did a great job with realizing that their audience wasn't just children; it was adults. They needed to give.
This
some-
isn't part of the, like we never made like the debate like we
Well,
never went all in on saying it's a children's movie, not an adult
Well,
movie.
it's-
We
it's-
know it has adult
This
jokes.
argument is.
Yeah,
is
It's.
you
I'm
took
trying to
it-
gear up to my point.
We gotta talk about the characters.
In Shrek
Yeah.
2, they realized that, wow, this movie is really doing well amongst adults. Let's give them more of a story. Let's give them more people to kind of... We don't need to keep it so simple anymore because this movie isn't just for
So
children.
they decided
it's for
to basically
everyone.
Yeah, Pinocchio had the thong on.
He had a thong
That was
on.
hilarious.
It's a thong! No.
So
Yeah.
they basically rehashed Meet the Parents, and you're like, that's an adult theme of meeting your in-laws. That's never been done in any movie.
Well, as Shrek's theme never been done in any movie.
Not in that
I have
sort of
nipples,
way.
Shrek. Can you milk me?
I have nipple Shrek. Can you feel?
So the characters.
Yes.
Not only do you have the classic trio that did pretty well in that first one, it's the reason that they all came back. You got to add so many more layers, so many more.
Layers.
Like onions?
That helps both of us. Okay.
Well,
ride
did they say that in the second one?
I don't know.
They ride, what did they ride? What's the
Onions
cart
are
they
red.
ride in the second one?
It's like a big onion.
A big onion. Yeah. Instead of a pumpkin.
We both jumped on that. Like, it was like our...
I did say layers.
Yeah. We were like onions.
I feel like we're not able to get to our point.
Yeah, characters. So you got Puss in Boots, voiced by Antonio
Got his own
Banderas.
movie, obviously popular.
Pretty popular guy at the time.
Sounds
Fairy
like a cash
Godmother.
cow.
Fairy Godmother.
Yeah,
Or
she
cash
created an empire in this far, far away. Like, talk about we'll get to it.
You have Harold, Fairy.
Yeah,
Fiona's
Harold.
dad,
John
John
Cleese.
Cleese.
Yeah, and then you have the mother, who was also very good, and she kind of kept him in
Yeah.
Shrek. Who, by the way, John Cleese turns into a frog at the end of this. He dealt with his own personal issues the whole time. You guys say how this isn't all well-rounded, all the characters are. We learned so much about John Cleese, the dad, the whole time. He had the same kind of issue that Fiona had with turning into a non-human until he found his one true love, and then he ended up taking the fairy.
Yep.
Bullet
I learned
thing.
John Cleese was desperate for cash in his old age. Jeez. Take anything that comes his way.
More like a career-changing
Yeah.
role.
Career changing.
Yeah, he's only got more popular from there.
Yeah. I didn't even know what else he was in before that.
Yeah. Who is he?
I don't know who he is. I don't know
Yeah.
who he is.
I knew.
You ever heard of a fish called Wanda?
No.
Deep cut.
I like that.
Deep
Fault
cut.
BBC show Faulty
Joe,
Towers.
No more, Joe. I
It
just
was a
like the
great sitcom in the 70s.
Do you want us to go on with characters? We've got an
Pinocchio,
entire
Prince
list.
Charming,
You can go on with your quantity, but we have quality.
Gingerbread Man.
All right. Well,
Gingerbread Man was in
so it sounds like the
gingerbread
points have been
guy,
made.
too.
We've got quality and quantity pitted against each other.
We should do that as a debate sometime.
Quantity or quality? Okay. My next one. Let's talk about the tunes, soundtrack. So both I have been told that both of these movies have iconic soundtracks, full of great songs created especially for the movie and pulled from pop culture. So let's talk about which movie has the better soundtrack.
Well, I will say that a couple years before this movie, before Shrek, I mean, a little movie called Rat Race kind of used the Smash Mouth song already. So Shrek just kind of like stole their thunder with that song there, and didn't
And
really.
Mystery Men. It was a Mystery Men 2.
So
That movie.
So
Shrek 2 didn't use any songs that were in any other movies?
no,
I
their
know.
main song was "Accidentally in Love" by the Counting Crows, which I think Shrek 2 put that on the map.
Yeah, I think that was an original song for the soundtrack.
Exactly. So what original
what
songs
movie?
did you have?
Fine. They're actually
What original song?
He asked about original songs.
Oh, he asked for a
Original songs
soundtrack.
and
You said-
actual,
Yeah, which
songs.
soundtrack is it?
I
And-
think the cover of Hallelujah by Rufus
Oh, that was
Wainwright.
beautiful.
I
That
think
was such a
that
beautiful
cover
movie.
was specifically done for the movie. Because besides Jeff Buckley,
Payne, can you fact check that?
No.
'Cause I don't think I was.
Wow. Thanks.
Are you getting paid by Joe?
Thanks. We got your 20 out there.
Venmo me
he
later.
wasn't programmed by me either.
So, but Hero in Shrek 2 is also a different version, just done for the movie.
It was.
It was a
We
different
weren't even
version.
arguing that. It sounds like you guys are insecure about that.
Well, we have a better soundtrack, so we'll
Yeah.
talk about it all day.
I'm just talking like straightforward. Like what? Hold on. So there was a song in
Don't
Shrek
point
2
at
that was
us.
so bad that was like what was it? The Buzzcocks. Ever fall in love with someone
That's a
ever-
bad song?
That's such a bad song. Are you kidding me? Like,
Have you
are
ever
you-
fallen in love with someone who's fallen in love now?
yeah,
That song?
Yeah.
I
Like
could listen to that all day.
You sound like an 8th grader
I go
who's
to-
just sprouting his first pubes and just like being like, I'm falling in love with someone and I'm falling in love. Yeah, it's bad. Hallelujah comes from like a deep, dark place of storytelling where you know that like, oh my gosh, like that.
That was the
Get
first
me
time
worked
I heard-
up.
that was the
Let's
first
get
time
me
I
worked
heard
up.
this song,
I've never
too.
laughed and cried in a movie,
Joe, you
and that
went
was the
to
first time.
church.
You realize that song isn't it's
Religious
it
song?
was written by Leonard Cohen.
Isn't that a religious song, though?
Oh, he's
No.
a big religious guy, right?
Is it not a religious song?
It's
I'm
not.
wondering.
It's not. It's
Quote-
not
quotes,
like
he
a-
it
uses
quotes-
like a church-
it
Hallelujah
quotes
ironically.
scripture.
Yeah,
They do say
it-
Hallelujah.
If it's the first time you
So
heard
does-
it,
goes
it's
on
fine.
religious themes.
So
it's
does
not
Jesus
like,
of Suburbia.
Yeah.
Was that in
it's
Shrek?
Jesus of
This
Suburbia.
isn't an argument about scripture. What is it?
Hey, we can always make it about scripture.
Oh my God by Usher a religious song?
Yes.
Yes, I have a deeply
It fits in my
profound
religion.
religious experience whenever I listen to that song. So.
Isn't this a kids movie? Why are we getting religious songs in here?
Whoa, Payne,
Yeah, they're
don't. You're not part of this.
Trying to pour
I'm just
religious
asking.
beliefs.
That's not a fact. Sit back.
This is why it was so refreshing. Most of the movies I saw up until Shrek were basically Veggie Tales. So this is the first time I've been experienced in a non-religious movie. So it's
Yeah,
very
can we
eye-opening.
focus? There's 2 Smash Mouth songs on Shrek 1. The cover of Believer as well.
Yep.
And All Star.
Yeah.
And is there 1 Smash Mouth or 0 on the second one?
0, as it should be.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Oh.
now this is yours.
You're an anti. This is the cross you die on here. An anti-Smash Mouth cross.
Okay, what's up with the religious over here? VeggieTales and Cross you die on? What do you, there's some subliminal messaging over here. No, I think Counting Crows was a fine. You know what? Here's my Smash Mouth. They've got a couple songs here and there. They're kind of fun to listen to. Like Shrek 1. It's got a couple good scenes here and there. It's kind of fun to watch. Shrek 2 starts off with the Counting Crows song. You know what? Counting Crows, that'll go on and on and on.
Every time that song
Mr.
comes on,
Jones, I mean, this movie is built to last, like the Counting Crows.
Sounds like
Still
your
make music.
team is only aware of 2 songs on your soundtrack. And it sounds like we're only aware of
No,
3 songs.
no, we said Changes by David Bowie.
Changes,
I know
and
that
then,
one.
and then at the end of it, they've got "Livin' La Vida Loca."
Yep.
When Donkey is doing the
Okay,
big party. So
You're right.
we have 4 songs. Would you guys like to add one more?
I just want to point out that they have proven, without a fact or without a shadow of a doubt, that if you're counting a soundtrack by the number of Smash Mouth songs, they do indeed have the best soundtrack. But if that's your only metric you're counting on, I don't know how much.
It's a matter of perspective. If the criteria is
They have-
amount of Smash Mouth songs on the album, I think hands down, outside of a Smash Mouth album,
It's
this
probably
is the greatest soundtrack of all time.
Yeah, I don't think
Now, is that the criteria I'm going to go off of? Maybe. I don't know at this point. We'll see. But I think that's enough about the soundtrack. Now, let's get back to something that you guys already kind of wanted to talk about. Let's talk about the villain. A movie's only as good as its villain. I have been told that both of these movies have very memorable and great villains. So let's debate it. Let's compare. Let's compare. Let's contrast. Which one is better and why?
I think Lord Farquaad is the perfect movie villain. He's the embodiment of toxic masculinity, insecurity as well.
Yeah.
He's very selfish. You know, his classic quote, "Some of you may die." That
And
is a
that's
risk.
price I'm willing to pay.
That's a mean thing to say.
He's basically trying to build borders, which I think we can all relate to.
Yeah.
He's trying to get the
trying-
fairy tale people out of his.
He likes his brand, Farquaad, like on all the banners and stuff, in his castle.
I mean, his castle is like kind of like an embodiment of like I don't know. It's
He
like
wants
greedy.
to take all those good,
It's like a greedy.
all those good
The spoof on his
characters and throw them into.
the spoof on his castle is basically Disneyland, which is basically a terrible, greedy place as it is.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Lord Fuckwad. Which
I think
is
that's
why
what
they
they were
named
going.
that.
Like I
That's
think
why
that's.
they
I think
named
we're
him that.
explaining the joke. How it kind of sounds like that.
But yeah,
Pure coincidence.
That's an insight we just discovered through our research on the
but
movie.
he has a Napoleon complex. Literally, he's a little
Oh,
guy,
yeah.
and he does everything in his power to stand tall in stature, and he just comes across like such a bad villain. Well, like
Yeah, he's so insecure. He like the only reason he wants to marry Fiona is because she's good looking, and he just wants the aesthetic of look, I'm married. Look,
I
and
have
if
a
she was an
yeah,
ogre, he'd be like, no.
That literally happens, and he's like, "Oh, you disgusting, gross." Yeah, he gets disgusted literally at the sight of her, and he doesn't even know her. And Shrek comes in and saves.
He's
it.
a bad guy.
The dragon eats him.
Classic
It makes
bad
you
guy.
feel happy.
Bad
about it,
haircut.
yeah. Just an
Bad guy.
just an all-around fuck.
Take it away, Team 2.
With that great segue.
Thank you for the reintroduction.
Yeah, I think Lord Farquaad's fine. You know, to kind of touch on what you said again, it is a little
fine?
literal.
You like
it's
him?
Yeah, it's the Napoleon complex. That's obvious. It's he's obviously a monarch and kind of has overwhelming power. That's fine. But you know, I wasn't very thrilled with him.
Either were we.
He wasn't a very He wasn't a very fun villain. It just
It wasn't scary.
yeah. I
like,
think
you
every
almost felt bad for
every
him.
villain you kind of want to root for. You know, you kind of want to like be like in when Game of Thrones was good, the Lannisters. You weren't really sure if you hated them or not. You always loved Tyrion, who was a little short man. I wish they would have.
He was a nice guy.
Yeah, I wish they would.
Not all
made,
little people are mean.
I wish they would have made theirs more like that, so I would at least be
Yeah.
entertained by it. But in Shrek 2, the fairy godmother is like she's pretty ruthless.
she's
She
crazy.
is controlling over everyone that comes in her way. She has this.
She drugs them? Doesn't she have drugs?
She drugs that. She's got like a bunch of like these just elf
I think
things
they're
working.
potions. I don't think they're drugs.
That was what they were called before. We
Yeah.
called them drugs. They were
Yeah.
potions.
We-
Read a fucking book.
Were they just getting roofied?
Before,
Was everybody just
so
getting roofied?
Shrek 2 happened in the past of this world that we live
A,
in.
a long time ago in a land far, far away.
Yes.
Whoa!
Such a cop out.
I didn't
I
realize
thought that was Star Wars.
They can't.
It's the same thing.
No one
isn't it?
owns time, Joe.
It's a
This is a
construct.
prequel to Star Wars.
Again, we mentioned she can fly, which is just kind of badass and makes her hard to get.
Yeah.
She's got a son that is trying to like do all of her dirty work for her, but she ended up having to do it herself. She orders for the murder of Shrek, but she does it through the king of the land. She literally controls the king of Far, Far Away, which I'm pretty sure is like all of the money making in the entire region of this fantasy land. Like
And the king,
Lord Farquaad was nothing but a pawn of the fairy godmother, as far as I'm concerned. Like he just worked in the countryside doing whatever. He was boring.
so the fairy godmother hired a villain, and then that villain, Harold, hired another villain to take out Shrek.
Yeah, it was
Villain and villain and villain.
pretty badass.
So it sounds like a worse mob movie.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's.
Yeah, I'm getting
Again, the quantity villain over.
I was
one-
entertained the entire time through the story. Like I
But
didn't
then
know which way it was gonna
Yeah,
go.
there's a lot of villains, but then a lot of the villains, they're not like bad at heart. Then
The only one that was
Is
the fairy godmother, and she was projecting that onto these people that lived in the town to get her dirty work done.
and it should.
It is funny that you say that. Yeah, it is funny that you say that. She was deep down to the bone bad, because I do think one other thing that makes a compelling villain is you want to be able to relate to them, to empathize with them at least a little bit.
Well, all she wanted was for her son to be happy and have a family, and he was kind of like a little nanny boy. He was
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh,
What?
Lord, yeah. Oh, Lord
They're
Farquaad.
talking about Prince Charming, not Farquaad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not talking about your Farquaad.
What does nanny boy mean?
They're talking about Prince Charming's
But
the
what
nanny
does
boy.
He
I'm
likes-
sorry, sissy man.
All Lord Farquaad wanted was to get his little dick wet, and
I think-
so I think I can relate to that. I mean, I got like 4 inches, so I mean,
That's canon.
Oh, that is canon.
Yeah, that's
But yeah,
canon
this
now.
just how.
I felt that on a spiritual level.
But like there are more villains, but they also the villains, like how easily they change once they get to know Shrek.
Yeah.
Just shows how the Shrek 2 just paints a better picture of Shrek. Like he comes off with this hard exterior, but he makes all these friends. And he goes from hating the donkey
He's
to
a good
loving
guy.
all. Yeah, he's a good guy to loving all the other.
He didn't even
critters.
like Donkey at the beginning of this movie. He got annoyed because he was just asking if they were there yet.
That
What
was
is
the
with-
fun.
Sounds like Shrek.
What does this have to do with villains, though?
Because Shrek, in
well,
the
they
beginning,
did their
is a
classic.
in the beginning, Shrek is a
Moran-
villain.
Like they just
Shrek was
kept
never a villain.
talking, and then they're in another place.
Shrek just wanted his swamp back, so he's gonna work for.
But you
Lord
didn't
Farquaad.
necessarily relate with Shrek. You
I
followed his journey.
Want my swamp back.
You followed his journey throughout until you realized that that donkey, Princess Fiona, broke through that exterior, and then you realized that he's a great guy on the inside. So I think there was literally 2 villains in Shrek.
Shrek.
Lord
is not
Farquaad was
a
the
villain.
overall
Hold
villain,
on.
but Shrek started off as a mean guy who you didn't really like, but then transformed over time into a great guy, the anti-hero.
You don't like Shrek?
I think there was inside of Shrek.
When you saw Shrek
He was
1,
being a villain to himself.
Going
by not
in-
letting him be happy.
yeah.
All
When
he
you saw
wanted was to be alone.
When you saw Shrek 1 going into the
That he
theaters
wasn't
as a
truly
10-year-old,
happy. He thought he wanted to be
Yeah.
alone.
You can't relate with being alone.
He convinced himself that he wanted to be alone.
He was alone for so long as this people
you're
wanted him to be the villain.
You're describing a bachelor as a villain.
I feel personally attacked right now. I feel like I'm no longer in a safe space. All right, moving on. The last question I actually have is a very important question. Both these movies are pervasive in pop culture, or so my sources have told me. Yeah, they're everywhere. The memes, the quotes. Which is the more pop culturally relevant film?
You guys want? It's obviously Shrek 2. it's.
That's actually fun.
You're gonna say Shrek 2 as well?
What were you guys gonna say? It was Shrek?
Yeah, I think
we were gonna say
Holy shit!
Oh.
Go ahead.
We disagree on this, but go ahead.
Agree or disagree? Sometimes
I mean,
I
it's Shrek 2. It's there's so much more to work with. It literally, like, another movie spawned from it. Like we said earlier, the franchise.
Shrek 3, yeah. And it was bad.
We're talking about Puss in Boots, Shrek 3,
But
Shrek,
Shrek
Forever.
3 also spawned
It's
from
actually
it.
Shrek
Fact
the
checker.
Third.
Did
Shrek. Yeah,
did Shrek 3 spawn from Shrek 2?
A sequence of events, yes.
Thank
And
you.
if there wasn't a Shrek 2, there would be no Shrek.
Yeah, what
3. Or Shrek the Third, sorry.
Yes, call it by its
So you're saying that Shrek 2 literally
Is the reason.
enabled to make the franchise move along?
Yes.
So they could have started with Shrek 2.
You
and
said
it was
Shrek
great.
2 made the franchise. I say Shrek 2 made it a franchise, and it didn't need to be one.
Yes.
The movie itself was perfect.
Well, Varun's asking about memeability, and I think without 4 movies and a Puss in Boots to work
Well,
with...
I had a point that I wanted to get in that doesn't fall under the constraints of Varun's little question.
Well, that's for after this.
Wait,
We're gonna have a final. We're gonna have like a
And-
little topics you wanted to discuss that I didn't cover.
So yeah, I think and the success of Shrek 2 was it's the best, like the highest grossing movie in
Yeah.
DreamWorks history. So the Shrek 2 also spawned like
$980 million, almost $1 billion.
Yep.
That was back in what 2005?
2004.
That's like $300 million. That's
It
like
was
$300
crazy.
billion
is
dollars.
It made twice as much within
300
3
billion,
years.
that translates.
It wasn't even inflation. It was people just wanted to go see it again and again and again, and it made them keep watching and keeping up with the franchise.
And that was that all was able to create a competitor for Pixar, which we were able to get more animated movies outside of Disney. So you have How to Train Your Dragon.
Well, Disney owns Pixar.
Yeah, they're the same
Yeah,
thing.
well, DreamWorks is a competitor for like the Disney
Yeah.
Pixar movies, so it's not all monopolized. They're Disney up my butt all the time.
Yeah.
If Shrek 2 never came out, they wouldn't have made the money they needed to make like
we
Madagascar
see
as
it
well.
on Twitter. We saw it on Vines. It's on TikTok. Shrek is in TikToks now. It would have.
Well, Shrek 2 specifically, I see way more Shrek.
Could you explain to our older audience what a TikTok is, including myself? I have no clue what that is.
It's like a Vine.
Oh, I thought it was a game where you like draw the X's and O's and the squares.
That's TikTok. That's TikTok toe.
Oh, okay. My bad.
I just think
And a
without
vine that's like a dangling piece of foliage that you swing from.
that's like a short Instagram video.
What's Instagram?
in like an instantaneous.
Instagram is where you put your pictures and people like them.
Is that like a unit of weight?
Yeah. Like it's weight and time. Instagram.
It's a very fast unit
Yeah,
of weight.
it's actually a gram.
How
that
much did it
disappears suddenly.
weigh in that second? Oh, no, 3.7 Instagrams.
Yeah.
It's weight measured by speed.
Let's keep going on the memeability of pop culture.
Well, I think we.
Okay.
I mean, without Shrek 2, this would have never became a memeable thing.
Whoa! Without Shrek, this wouldn't have been a memeable
Okay,
thing
yeah.
because
I think-
Shrek wouldn't have existed.
I think
in
this
Shrek
one
2.
is objectively Shrek 1 is way more memeable.
If they never-
there are more memes. You know how many YouTube videos are Shrek, but there's no Shrek. Shrek, but it speeds up twice as many times when he's like
Shrek
says a
is
certain
love.
word.
Shrek is life. It
But
doesn't say Shrek 2 is
no
love.
one
Shrek
would
is life.
care about Shrek if it was just one movie.
No way.
It was a movie that happened 20 years ago. People would just be like, "Oh, Shrek. Yeah, I like that
Millennials
movie."
love shit that happened 20 years ago. Are you kidding me?
I will just bring up, like I said, I grew up in Michigan. Don't really know the culture, but something that was brought to my attention is something called the Bee Movie. That was a one-off, just singular movie, no sequels, memed to shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will
That
say,
was a bit, that,
I will say that just one-off movies from
We're not
forever
talking
ago
about
are
the
still
Bee
being
Movie.
made.
Oh, see, that's
MVP.
deflecting.
No.
Yeah, well,
Well, no,
just
I
say.
know we're not talking about the B movie, but that's an example of a movie without a sequel that was very memeable. That
Okay.
came out decades ago.
Let's just see. Shrek Forever After. I've never seen the movie. The only thing I know from it is do the roar.
Do the roar.
Thank you, Daddy. That's one meme of a vine of something I saw on Twitter once. I didn't even know it was from that movie because I never saw the movie.
Okay, well that's that movie. We're talking about Shrek 2.
Okay. The
I'm
question
s-
was pop culture, right? That doesn't necessarily have to be
Memeability.
confined within memes.
That is true.
All right,
So I'm
pop
just saying,
culture.
you guys
That's
are
true.
like, yeah.
But if we want to, we don't want to get meta about it. Like the question itself, like any popularity of Shrek 2 is because Shrek 1 paved the way. Like,
Or it's, I mean, but it made twice as much. Like people
the
just
budget
wanted-
was twice as much, and that many people, like the amount of people that how many million did the first one make?
150.
150. That amount of people saw the first one. Were like, I want to see the second one. So it's that plus all the other people that want like more.
In addition, to help you out with this just a little bit,
Yeah.
how did it do at the Academy Awards? Are you familiar? It was the first ever animated feature film for Shrek.
Payne,
Went to
you
that.
are a fact
just
checker.
stating.
You're
Yeah.
not checking their facts. You're giving them a point.
I'm giving them facts.
It was only won because it was the first year they ever had that category, and they just like, oh, because the gift to Shrek.
That's a good point.
Okay, sounds like a convenient.
But in pop culture, I think of the magic mirror scene with the dating game. That was hilarious. Where he's like, "Oh, what's behind Bachelor number 1 or Bachelorette number 1?"
They were just referencing an old '60s dating game
yeah,
show.
but that's pop culture reference, and that's kind of
I
the whole
think, and I'll stand by this. Shrek 2 allowed for the lasting effect of Shrek as a franchise.
Is
because
that a good
it
thing?
I
only-
think it just expanded upon Shrek. Like
I
Shrek
do not
1.
think it would be as
There were
popular
Shrek
today
products all
without
over the
Shrek
place.
2.
Shrek Yogurt.
But Shrek 2 was so good, it spawned. It
And it was
kept
so
going.
big, and people, like, more
Is
people
that a
saw
good
it.
thing?
Was this a fever dream or was there Shrek? Like was it crazy ketchup that was like green?
It was green.
Yeah. No, back in like the late '90s,
that
early
happened in
2000s, people
2004.
loved recoloring ketchup, and it was stupid.
Sources have told me there was a purple one as well.
Oh my god!
There was a
Jesus.
purple one.
So they had purple ketchup in Michigan.
We didn't have ketchup, period.
Oh yeah, that's
It's
right.
a catch-up free state. I think that Shrek 2 allowed for Shrek to be in pop culture longer, bigger, and better than before. And while you're right, there would be no Shrek 2 without Shrek 1 because there had to be a first movie. Shrek 2 just did it bigger, better, and it allowed for not one more movie, but two more movies, and then a spin-off as well that people still watch today. I don't know who it was, but someone told me just today that they rented Shrek 2 off of the internet.
I feel like I heard that at some point.
Like, who is still renting Shrek 2? It must be a good movie.
And I heard there's talks of another Shrek coming out.
Shrek 5, the
Shrek the
Shrekening.
musical.
The Shrekening, I think is what it's gonna be called.
Shrek is love.
Shrek is life.
Thank you.
Shrek is Shrek is Shrek is Shrek.
It's Shrek 5. Look who's coming to dinner. Surprise, it's Shrek.
Why you said it so funny?
I think Shrek 1 has more iconic quotes, like one-liners, like, in the morning, I'm making waffles. And then the whole layers thing, the number 3, my lord.
3, my lord. No.
I'm not saying 2 didn't have any good bits, but I'm talking, like, I think I quote,
Quotability.
and my friends and what I've
Quotability is
witnessed.
a big part of pop
I
culture.
think Shrek 1's more
I think
quotable.
Shrek 2
Do you guys
was
have some
more-
good quotes from Shrek 2?
It's a thong.
It's a thong!
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all you need to know.
Gigi! That was the Gingerbread Man.
Yeah,
Who
good
lives on
jam.
Drury Lane? And they did the whole cops thing. That was so...
Do you know the Muffin Man?
Oh, yeah, the cops.
Man.
Not the gumdrop buttons, not the gumdrop
Yeah, put some...
buttons.
I think Shrek 2 is much more relatable, so people that watch it today, they can see, like, oh, look at all these... Like, they really brought the modern world into Shrek, and it was just allowed to just have a lot more funny references during the movie so that you could be more present during the movie and be like, oh, look at that cops reference.
Yeah, Shrek 1 could have came out after Shrek 2 as a prequel, and that's just how lame it is. Like, oh, we ran out of stuff, let's do a prequel.
Yeah.
All
Simple's,
right.
simple's not always better.
Well, with that being said, it's time for the wild card round. Is there anything that I didn't cover any pressing issues or points that you'd like to bring up before we break and come up with closing statements?
Yeah, Shrek 2 got an 89% on Rotten Tomatoes.
What did Shrek 1 get?
About 88.
I think first of all,
Measly 88.
Ugh.
Measly 88.
That sounds like less than 89.
Yeah.
Wait,
I'm
Payne,
sorry.
Is that
I
true?
think you guys knew that answer. By the way, they asked the question they knew the answer to for effect.
Cross
So,
examination.
what did it get on IMDb?
It got a 7.8 Shrek 1. What did it get on IMDb?
7.2 for Shrek.
Thank
Oh,
Are you guys gonna believe some stupid?
No, I
critics?
looked it up. I looked it up because I was like, they're so close that this isn't even an argument. I don't know why anybody would bring it up.
Well, Rotten Tomatoes by the
Shots
fans. The
fired.
fans say. Fans say I don't know.
Well, you know, I don't listen to every mouth breather on the
Take
internet.
your big money Oscars
Hey,
and
that's
get out
half
of
of our
here.
listeners.
Except for
That-
you.
and that's
Internet.
the
Rotten
Joker was
Tomatoes.
great.
yeah, it's binary, rotten or not. So an 89 and a
Sounds better than
88.
88.
Pretty close. Like,
You know what?
Pretty close.
Can we just come together and say they're both good movies?
Yeah,
Here
we're
before
gonna. I think
So no.
the
Okay.
conclusion is agree to disagree. See you next week.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, you rarely get a sequel that is truly better than the first movie. And not only was...
I disagree.
Oh, do you want to name, like, what? Godfather 2?
No.
Do you want to name
Terminator
the next
2?
Karate Kid? Speed 2?
Speed? What?
Jaws 2.
So those are bad.
You're naming-
Caddyshack 2.
You're naming bad
Hey,
sequels.
guys,
Dumb and Dumber.
this is something that can be brought up in a closing statement.
Deuce Bigelow,
this is
European
Wildfire.
Gigolo.
You didn't ask for this. So you guys brought up bad sequels. This
Bad
is a good
sequels.
one.
Oh, and Shrek 2.
Oh, and Shrek 2, yes.
Okay.
So what did we do? What was that list that we brought up?
They were all bad sequels.
With the exception of Shrek 2.
Okay.
Scored better on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, well, all the points have been made. So we're going to take some time to formulate our thoughts, really digest what was said. The teams will come up with closing statements, and you'll hear those closing statements right after this.
Ladies, are you looking to date a man that wears a fedora but can't find one anywhere? Wait no longer. Download our new dating app, Fedora Fling. A dating app for women looking for men that wear fedoras and for men who wear fedoras. Does he play in a jazz band? Probably not. Is he a mafia gangster? Unlikely. Is he Carmen Sandiego? No. Does he watch hentai in his mom's basement? Probably. Does he polish his AR-15 while looking at alt-right Facebook memes? Yas, queen. Does he brag about his atheism and criticize his dying grandmother's faith? You better believe it. If this sounds appealing to you, download this app now. Swipe down on the perfect man in that perfect fedora, then wait for the man to message you. Please give him time to pick the hottest lady. You are limited to one message until he responds, and you can't say anything mean. No fat chicks. First million swipes are free. We are not responsible if you get stalked or murdered by a fedora-wearing man.
Hello and welcome back. All right, so both teams have had time to meet, go over their thoughts, what was said, compile a list of their best points and arguments, and condense it into a closing statement. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Team Shrek 2 Live crew, you have the honors to go first. What is your closing statement?
So, in conclusion, Shrek 2 is the better movie. It has a better cast, better characters, better story, and better music. Did well, better financially. It did better on Rotten Tomatoes. And the money it made from its success allowed DreamWorks to grow as a company, created jobs for more people, and it inspired more new projects like How to Train Your Dragon and Madagascar.
Yeah, and while they were both pretty equally rated, you know, Shrek 2 had 89% on Rotten Tomatoes. Shrek 1 had 88%. Just far more people were exposed to Shrek 2, which no matter for what reason, that allowed more people to watch Shrek 3, Shrek 4. People wanted a Puss in Boots spin-off. The characters became way more iconic. They became more well-rounded. And I think that a lot of things pointed to this movie being better. It was more accessible. Parents and kids liked it more because there was a lot more for each of them to enjoy and understand. And there were more jokes that just had a play on modern culture that people could watch and remember and just have a good time in the theater. And it was a good theater. I saw it twice. It was a good theater experience. But going back to one of our original points, obviously everything has to start somewhere, and Shrek 1 did a good foundation for us here for Shrek 2, but Shrek 2 really just took that baton and ran and created more of a franchise, an empire, a memeable just existence of this character that we all know so well. That's it.
All right. Well, thank you, Team Shrek 2 Live crew.
Anytime.
So that being said, team, we put the OG and Ogre. What is your closing statement?
So, we are here on We Are the OG Ogre. We put the OG in Ogre.
There we
Excuse
go.
me.
There we go.
We are.
We also are the OG ogre.
We had a story that had a quality cast, a quality story, and we just are sick of Hollywood trying to milk the cash cow that is sequels. So, we think that Shrek 1 was perfect, and the fact that they even made a sequel after that, after an amazing 88 score on Rotten Tomatoes, we think that that's just baloney. We don't. That's not okay. It was the perfect film. It teached everything that it needed to be teached. And
I
literally,
believe the word you're looking for is taught.
I'm sorry. I realized that as I said it. So it taught those lessons, and Shrek 2 just rehashed those. It literally had the same themes in it. Love yourself. Don't change for people. That was exactly what was done in Shrek 1. Shrek 2 had nothing new to bring to the table other than some more pop cultural references. And we don't think that's enough. That's not enough.
Speaking of not enough Smash Mouth in the soundtrack.
It's not enough
Like,
Smash
you
Mouth.
can have the hardest banging Counting Crow song they've ever put out, but it's still one short of Smash Mouth's 2 songs in that soundtrack. Yeah, like you said, it's already you guys definitely have talked about the quantity, added on more and more money, but yeah, we'd like to hone in on the quality. We don't need all these characters.
We don't need more spin-offs.
Yeah. And then when Shrek the prequel comes out, we're joking about it. Oh, prequels, oh, sequels.
You know they're thinking about it.
And if they're not already after this.
Right.
How did
right
Shrek
after the
get
Shrekening.
so grumpy and want to be in his swamp? Like, what happened to him? Who are his parents? Or was that answered in...
Is there going to be
No.
a gritty reboot? Is
I
there
don't
going to
think
be a
it-
gritty prequel origin movie?
No, because Shrek 1
what we
is a
need, but
gritty
not
origin.
deserve.
It's already gritty. It's a man. He doesn't like society, man. And he doesn't like anybody around him.
Yeah. And
But you see him transform over the course of this movie into somebody lovable. Somebody who's not this monster that he's put out to be in the beginning. Someone who's a lovable ogre.
yeah, they strip away, he gets his layers stripped down to who he is. Bottom is that someone who wants to be friends and wants to be loved. And let's talk about the memes, man. There's so many more memes in the first one. I can't, maybe the popping thing that Donkey does, but like I see way more on my time on the internet, Shrek memes and references as well. All those great quotes.
To Shrek.
Yeah, to Shrek. Cheers.
Cheers.
Wow, that was a beautiful cheers moment that the mics probably beautifully captured.
It didn't need to. It's fine.
All right.
I know
well,
it's beautiful.
strong closing statements. So I've had some time to think, and this was a close one. You know, the arguments were great. A lot of both sides won.
Thanks. All right, tune in next week.
Recording. I just stopped recording.
Both sides.
Can
won
we?
multiple
By the way,
arguments.
can we give a hand to Varun, his moderating this debate? So good.
I mean, it's the first
So
time
good. So good.
First time we've ever done this. But yeah, so no, this was actually a pretty close one. And so what it actually came down to was the story. At the end of it, which one had the better story? And I think I have to give it to Shrek 2.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes,
I
because
just-
it was just about story.
Yep.
In terms of the story, I just think it did a better job of
Meet
of
the Fockers.
expanding on the lore. It brought in, it
you.
expanded that kind of story of Shrek. So when you watch the first one, so I've been
So
told.
they did a better job of explaining this, is what you're saying. Not like I saw the movie and it did.
No,
it
I'm
did
saying
better.
so I've been told from people is that so in the first Shrek, I mean, yeah, you find out he lives in this fairy tale land. You don't know a whole lot about it. And in the second one, you do tend to learn more about how it works, the characters that inhabit it.
Okay.
In terms of the other arguments that were made, I think the villain and the actual pop culture references both go towards the first Shrek. I think Lord Farquaad is a better villain. He's more memorable. He's more relatable. He is a better all-around and original villain than the fairy godmother. And I agree with you. I think the pop culture references are way more towards Shrek than Shrek 2 that I've seen in my limited time on the internet. It's not really a thing in Michigan. But in terms of Shrek 2, I mean, the cast, I know I said bigger isn't always better, but in this case, it is. In this case, it is better. And the soundtrack, the fact that they do have a banging original Counting Crows song. They have Hero. I Need a Hero. They have, I believe, the Immigrant Song is on that soundtrack as well.
That wasn't brought up, so I don't know how you would know that if you've never seen
He saw
Shrek
it on
2,
the internet.
Yeah, in my
which
limited-
is
my
limited.
Someone told them.
Yeah.
But yeah, against Shrek, against the first Shrek, I mean, yeah, there's some banging Smash Mouth songs, but like that's really all it's got.
And
going for it.
Hallelujah. It's great.
Hey, just watch Rat Race.
Rat Race is a fantastic movie.
It's pretty good. I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, it was a very close debate. Came at the end, it really just did come down to the story, which one had a better story. But so yeah, there we have it. The definitive answer of which is better, Shrek or Shrek 2. Well, I'm telling you, the answer is Shrek 2. Now we never have to talk about that
Nope,
again.
it is
Listen,
Shrek 2.
Internet.
Listen out. Right now, this is the definitive answer. We did it. You're welcome. Shrek 2 is better. We're done.
If I see one more post on Reddit, I swear to God.
Swear
Payne,
to
did you have
fucking
any
God.
facts that just went unchecked?
It was nominated for the best original song.
What
with
was?
The Counting Crows.
There we go.
There it is.
Did
So
it.
that did happen,
Yeah.
and it was a critically acclaimed. So Varun is in connection with the critics, obviously.
That song.
He's in
banged.
connection with the crows, too. He's counting them.
I'm counting. I've been counting that crows. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in. We had a lot of fun recording. And like I said, the question's been answered. Shrek 2 is better. This has been Mock Trial. Thanks for listening. You know what it is, bitch. We'll see you next week.